Today we're talking about the gospel in the church. This is number 13 in the series on the gospel in Galatians. And isn't it so surprising that the gospel seems all too often absent when it comes to the church? When you think of the church's history, these past 2,000 years, when you think about all the persecutions, all the spreading of hate, all the antagonism, all the un-Christ-like behavior, it really does seem we need to go back to Galatians and look at Galatians chapter 6 verses 1 to 10 and think again about the gospel in the church. Because if the gospel isn't operating in the church, we can't expect it to be operating outside as we witness for the people who are not members of God's church. These verses have two primary themes, as I put here in the notes. The first is to help one another, recognizing our responsibility to one another. Everybody around us in church deserves not only our respect, but our encouragement and our love. And the second is that we reap what we sow. That's the second theme. Our results do have consequences. Our actions do have results. So we need to be aware of that. We need to think about that. We need to think of how we operate and how we practice spreading the good news, speaking the good news in the church. Those early Christians, when they met each other, they said, Maranatha, the Lord has come, the Lord is coming, reminding each other of God's presence, not only in the life of the church, but in the lives of each and every one of them individually. So as you think about that, the gospel in the church, well, let's look again at what the gospel really truly means. The gospel is neither a discussion nor a debate. It is an announcement, said Paul Rees. I do like that. The whole idea that it's an announcement, that it's not up there for discussion. It is there and it's definite and it is certain. And thinking about those Galatians and their embracing of what Paul says is a different gospel, but not really even a gospel at all, isn't it true that we do the same thing very often? We forget who we really are. We forget that we are followers of Jesus Christ. We forget that we have the good news. That the good news is that Jesus has come. He's lived among us. He shared the good news of God. He is God. And He is saving us, remaking us, healing us, and He's taking us back home again. This is truly good news. This is the gospel we have to share. All too often, though, we get sidelined into arguments and debates over many different things. And of course, the devil is always very happy for that, because it means we are distracted from spreading the good news. And when the good news becomes bad news, it's no longer good news. It's no longer the gospel. And I'm delighted that we're thinking about this again this particular week as we consider again the fact that God is truly good, that He's winning us back to love and to trust Him, that He wants us to be there together with Him for all eternity. The good news is not about all these other things that we want to make it. We make it into our theological statements, into our statements of doctrine, our fundamental beliefs. We make it into all kinds of things. But the good news is about God Himself, that He is truly good, He is truly right, and that He truly does love us. May we concentrate on that. May we think on these things. And as we consider the gospel and the church, remember that the gospel has to come from within the church as we share with those around us.